I'm Lynn.
And I'm Heather.
Welcome to Small Town Big Thoughts.
Episode 6.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Today we've got a special guest.
Hi. Please state your name.
For the record.
My name is Krystal.
Hi, Krystal.
Also Justin's best friend, so I've known Lynn and Heather pretty much their whole life, so.
Wherever, yeah.
Known me my whole life, so.
Reba's irrelevant.
Oh, I'm really excited. It's the first time I've ever done this. But I always wanted to. Like, I've always wanted to do a podcast. I think it's so cool because I listen to them all the time anyways. What's your favorite? Well, besides yours. I really listen to true crime. Like, I'm obsessed. So there's one that's called like True Crime Obsessed. And it's this girl and this guy, and they are just hilarious. And it's like they say all the things that you want to say, you know, when you're going through the cases and stuff. So yeah, it's cool. Yes. I feel like here lately I've been listening to New Heights, probably like a lot of Americans, you know. I actually started, okay, there's Crime Junkies too, and this girl named Ashley Flowers like runs it, and she wrote a book about a a little girl getting murdered when she was growing up.
Oh my
Like they were friends.
Okay, so like based on a true story.
Yes,
Oh,
and she wrote the book like she was a news reporter.
okay.
Reporting about it is so good. I like that. It's called All Good People Here.
Cool, okay. I might have to read that. That sounds really good.
I've been listening to it on Spotify and it's so good. I bought the book. So, all right.
I didn't know Spotify had free books.
Yes. Yeah. I started
Everybody looking at me like
so good. And they're free, like, and it's good books. It's
I love that.
new
I
books.
hate Audible because you have to pay for it.
audiobooks. I don't think I can focus on it long enough. Like I start it, maybe listen to it for 10 minutes, and then forget about it and walk away.
I say that because I love reading books, like flipping through the pages, smelling it, like that's my favorite thing. But I learned like if you really get sucked into a good book, whether you're hearing somebody else read it or you're reading it, you'll pay attention.
If I find a good book, my ADHD kicks in. I start hyperfixating on it. I'll read that thing within like 12 hours. Forget to eat, drink, all that.
See, I'm never fixing on sounds and frequencies, so I feel like audiobooks are easy for me because I'm sucked in.
I have something to watch, something for my eyes to focus on.
I like to like imagine it. Like when I'm flipping through the pages, like you're touching it. I don't know. Harry Potter just changed my world when it comes to books. So I was like, ever since then, I had to feel it. I wanted to be like consumed by it.
I never got into like any of the series, like any of them. Everybody, all of my friends read like the Harry Potter, the Twilight, any kind of like series that there was available growing up.
I was a tryhard.
Yeah.
I just waited for the movies.
Hooked on Harry Potter. Like we started a little, I wouldn't say like a book club, but he started me getting into like reading and stuff. And so he would bring a book home and we would read it. And that was one of the books he brought home, and it just sucked us both in. I loved it.
The first Harry Potter?
Yeah. Yeah. See, I wasn't allowed to
only ever watch the movies.
Yeah,
Really?
see, she was
magic?
She had to grow up a little different. She was more like strict Catholic, like I didn't get
Because
to
the
read or
magic
watch
is that
it.
way?
Yeah, witchcraft and stuff like that. And my dad just never cared. He grew up as Catholic as they did, like Aunt Veronica and Regina, but he just grew out of it. He's too like. First time I watched the films before I read the books, though. Deanna got me started watching the first one, and then we watched till like the fifth one, and then I happened to be with her and David, and they were watching the sixth one, and then I finished that with her, and then finished the series with Deanna, and I was like I was in it to win it. Then I read the books, and then now I'm just like it's.
A Potter fan for life.
I'm a pothead for life. Yeah, it is. It's just great. Like if you really, and even reading it now as an adult, like I think it takes my mind like even more in crazier places. Even after seeing the movies, like seeing how she portrays it, like J.K. Rowling, but it's so good.
Everybody says, of course, the book's better than the movie, but I don't know. I watched the first Harry Potter, and then that was it for me. I was like, huh. One time I was really, really it might have been Star Trek. I don't know. I was really high for like a whole summer one time, and me and Allison decided that we were gonna watch all of the Star Trek movies, and then we jumped onto Harry Potter because Reese didn't like Harry Potter and he was gone. So I was like, sure, let's watch it. Could not follow that shit. I was like, I don't know what is going on. There was like one scene that there was like all these mirrors.
Oh, yeah.
And
Some sorcerer stuff.
I was way too high for that. I could not deal. I was like, that's happening to me right now.
You should get really high and watch the movie As Above, So Below. That will mess with you. It's a scary movie, but it's one that fucks with you.
I just can't sign myself up for scary movies.
I love scary movies.
There is a hill I will die on. What kind of person wants to scare themselves for 2
I
hours?
think they're funny.
No, whenever we were kids, we watched all of them. Insidious, freaking all of them. The Paranormal
I'm
Activity.
terrified of clowns. What do you think my ass falls to? And watch all the time. Like I was forced to watch scary movies and I hate it.
Well, I feel like I love it. Those are my favorite ones.
And I feel like being Catholic, like all the like demons,
Yeah,
like
I
those
like
were
that.
the ones that made it even more real,
Yeah.
just from like stories and
Yes.
knowing stuff. So.
What was the one? We watched it in theaters, and then like at the end of it, it was like, if you're religious, you should go see a priest after watching this movie. And I was like, let's go to mass. Let's go
For
right
some
now.
reason, I feel like it was one of the Paranormal Activities.
It was
like
one of them like that,
yeah.
Because it was like whatever one has the dolls, and like on the last one, he's got the dolls.
Dead
And
Silence.
no, he's got
Oh.
like the creepy doll in. So it's like a whole series, and then he's got like in the last one, he's got all this stuff in his.
Is it like the Conjuring?
basement. Yes.
Annabelle people.
Yeah, well, okay, so it was The Conjuring, but they have an episode or one of their shows where they'd have.
Well, they're all
Annabelle.
Yeah,
they're all like the same.
Yeah.
What?
It's like a
Yeah, they're
prequel,
like a series.
It's
So Ed and Lorraine
Warren.
Warren, yeah, did all those. They investigated all these houses. Like that's their
like
story.
Amityville Horror. Like it's all
Yeah,
the same family. Yeah.
Like I think
Oh my god.
don't they
Or couple.
collect like certain
Yes,
things
they
for
have.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We've always kind of wanted to go, but then I'm kind of scared.
Oh, I after
I
watching.
would like just stand outside and be like, "Oh, okay, I did it."
Yeah, I'd be like, I've
I should
visited.
do it.
No, I feel like
Curiosity
something
would
would
be better.
attach to me. I couldn't.
See,
I'd
that
have to like I'd have to be sage the whole time.
Something.
Like
Like maybe have Father Daigle just chill out.
I'd let him hold my hand.
sprinkle with holy water the whole time.
Just a little curious sometimes.
Yes. No, we love. Shout out to Father Daigle, starring in Killers
That
of the
man.
Flower Moon.
That man is
Yeah.
is how every Catholic priest should be, and that is the hill I will die on. This.
I want to have a Catholic episode,
Yes.
so save it.
Okay.
I know you're about to go off.
He's how they should be. He's very welcoming. Like we love him. Shout out to Father Daigle.
Yeah, I've only met him a handful of times, but every time that I've met him, I've just been like, "Oh, you're just the sweetest guy."
He is the most Jesus-like being out
Yes.
of all the authorities like that. I don't know what you call it,
Yeah.
like the priests and the ministers and all that. I just feel like he's the least judgmental. And
He is like he doesn't care what you are, who you are.
he's very childlike, which
Yeah.
is how you, I guess, are supposed to be. So
I like that in people.
I just,
And very well.
and he's not afraid to cuss.
He is the most like he's himself,
Yeah, yeah.
and like other priests have kind of like put them on a pedestal, you know, like, and that's not how it's supposed to be. He's just like us, like
Yes.
he's
I
very
love that.
authentic.
So you both grew up Catholic?
Yes,
Okay. So then you guys don't go to church now, or you do?
I go to a non-denominational church,
Okay.
and recently, just I mean,
Yeah.
when I started dating Steven and getting to know Rivers, I was like, okay, we need a foundation. So
Right. Okay.
that's when we started going.
Heck yeah. And where do you go now?
Spirit in Bartlesville.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of it. Where is it at?
It's in the middle of the mall behind it.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
No.
okay.
Yeah, it's kind of behind the mall. Like, can't explain it.
Like you go past the mall. Is it on your right hand side?
No, you keep going past that.
Oh,
So
and
you
then
have to
turn left.
Like, yes, you come to that stop sign intersection, the four-way.
It's like the Casey's going to like Tri County. It's
Yeah.
like just a little
Okay.
bit back there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
I might
really
come and
good.
check
Like,
it out.
I love it. I love it. It's I don't know. It's just the one church that I found that's not like give me your money, you know, because like in this economy,
Right.
like you're getting what you get, homie. Like I am here and crazy.
I know
for
Jesus
you,
only
but
wants 10%, but the man upstairs is asking for 54%.
don't even get me started.
Past the churches.
Mm.
Don't.
Yeah.
Them churches at
But
least.
that's the best part I love about my church is it's not like that. Like the pastor, very humble. He'll come to you and talk to you like he wants to meet you. Like they have a welcoming center after church and
I like
stuff.
that.
Him and his wife are really nice.
Aw.
The kids, church is really why we went there because they're very, very good with like the kids and teaching them stuff. River loves it. So
What time does it start?
they have. I don't think they do 8:30 anymore, but it's 9:30 maybe, and 11. We go to the 11 because let's be real.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like cooking breakfast and doing all the crap you have to do to get your family out.
Like to get
So,
there.
yeah.
When we stay with our friends in the city, they go to Life Church, and I really like that because they have like 9, 10, 11, 1, like they've got it all.
Yeah.
And so you can go all day, and we're like, okay, we're not going to make the 11 o'clock
Right.
one, but we're not going to rush. Let's go grab lunch, and then we'll hit the 1 o'clock.
Mhm.
And it's always fun whenever we
I
go
like
there.
that it's more realistic because I remember being little, like rushing around to get to mass, and I was just like, dude, I'm falling asleep. You know, like I hated it, but now it's more like, okay, the priest is like the 8 o'clock crew. He'll tell us like we had an 8:30 service. They do it every now and then. He's like, man, they're dead. I like the 11 o'clock because you guys are live and like attentive and stuff. So he's
I
really
like the
nice.
feeling that you have leaving church.
Mhm.
I think that's really my reason for going.
Yeah.
Is like I just like that. I don't know, you just feel energized, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's different. But I never felt that when I was younger.
I
It's
didn't
the same
either.
for me. As an adult, like I guess I understand it more. I
Right.
don't know because River's kind of going through that questions. Like
Mm.
he's like, is it real? Like, like it doesn't make sense to me. And I'm like, so we had to explain like, yes, Jesus walked this earth, like,
Right.
and so we go through everything that he did, and I'm like, no, we're not gonna say like he's gonna come just chill next to you and kill all your problems, you know.
Right.
So we kind of have to tell him like it's in spirit. It's kind of like
It's
honor.
ethereal.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really confusing for him.
I bet. I could not imagine trying to explain that
It's
to
hard.
anybody. I think that it's so interesting how families generationally will go through and I think it's more of like an overcorrection of things, but then I think that like our generation is the generation that's here to balance everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like our parents had a lot of stuff that they went through,
Mhm.
and then they tried to overcorrect that with their children. And then, so their children are like so anti everything that their
Yes.
parents were. So then they tried to overcorrect with their kids.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just where we are in evolution.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And I feel really bad for him, but I don't try to push it, which that's how I was raised. Like Reba said, like we were raised to respect all decisions people make in their lives. So my dad was really big on that, like characters, how we're gonna, steer who we hang out with, not judge, but just spend our time.
right, right.
So I don't like try to push it on him either. Like going to church, I have the conversation with him every Sunday. I'm like, hey, are you feeling it today? Like,
That's so good. I
do
love
you
that.
want to go? And now I don't want to confuse him anymore than he
Right.
already is. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to force it on him. Like,
My friend has a son, and he's like 7 now, 7 or 8, and he like has never been to church. No, like I don't think ever since he's born have they gone to church or anything. So he was like, came home from school one day, and somebody had said something about Jesus, and so he was like, Mom, who's Jesus? And what is he like? Do I need to go to church? Like, what is this? He was like so confused, and she was like, I had no idea what to say to him. She had to like figure out if she wanted to explain it to him because they're also Catholic. So she was like, do I take him to mass? Like, he was, what is it? Whatever their baby?
Baptized.
Yeah, he was baptized, but she was like, but do I take him to mass? Like, do I take him to a different church? Like, she was like, I don't know what to do.
It's hard.
I think that like especially having in another like life form
Yeah.
that's like asking questions like I would be like, man, I don't know. I
I
haven't even figured it out yet.
mean, I'm very honest with you. Like, I tell them, like, River, I question this as an adult. Like, the questions that you have in your mind right now, I've either went through that, like,
Right.
where I was your age, or now, like, because sometimes life's hard and you're like, well, what, what
I
process
like
it
that
like
you
this?
are like so open about it because like I feel like my parents were just like it's this way
Yeah,
and it's you don't question it
Yeah.
because I'm the adult
yeah.
and I feel like I didn't like that as a kid.
And
I remember being forced to go to church
Yeah.
when we were younger. Like, we didn't have a choice. We had to
Yeah.
go.
Which
Like-
was more confusing because our parents did not go with
Yeah,
us.
they just dropped us off. Yeah, they would just drop us off, and
Come on,
we
Amy.
weren't allowed to just not go. Like, we had to have like a good reason, like we were sick or something. It was like school. I think that's what ruined the whole experience. for
No.
me.
I feel like the only good thing about like the forcefulness of being going is like it did correlate to family time.
Yeah,
Like that
yeah.
was the only like thing.
I
for
mean,
me.
our whole family pretty much took up this side of the church. So
the south side.
that was cool. Like, that's what I battle, like, because we've talked about, like, not going. And there was just certain things that were going on in our church that I didn't agree with.
And
So,
people.
and
Certain
people.
I will directly say that to the kids.
Yeah. And I just didn't feel comfortable going anymore. Um, so I stopped and I didn't go anywhere for a long time. We did go to Homony's church for a little bit because they have a little Catholic church over there, and their pastor is really welcoming. So we did that for a little bit, but it just got to the point where I was like, why did we even do this our whole life? Like, is this
Yeah.
who we are? That's not who we were raised to be. So I think the church kind of going in a different direction really did kind of mess with my like whole.
And political.
Are you referring to when Father Daigle
Yes.
left? Okay.
Yeah.
His replacement was not. I'm not a fan.
I went to so I knew that he had left here and then I was at the time I was dating a guy in Fairfax and I just went to church with them one morning and he was there and I was like,
Yeah.
you know this guy? I know this guy. I said, what?
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know that. I thought he like went somewhere like crazy out of state or somewhere, but no,
No.
he's just in Fairfax.
Yeah.
I was like, think they were Catholic, but
Yeah.
I don't know why they went there.
That's the thing that I love about him. Like, he doesn't care what you believe.
Right.
It's all, you're here, you're going to sit in my pew, you're going to get my message, basically. Like, he doesn't care.
I always enjoyed listening to him.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, I mean, he hung out with Paul.
Yeah.
Paul was a prisoner
Yeah.
and prostitutes and thugs. And so, like, I understand not constantly associating yourself with people, but just like, Jesus hung out with everybody.
Right.
Jesus was nice to all the people.
I think if he were to come here, like, right now,
Oh my gosh, I've thought about this. I think he would be so upset. It is so
like,
sad.
okay, right now.
Yeah.
What crazy to me is I think about it sometimes and I'm like, okay, if Jesus came back, I think he would be more proud of people like my cousin, like Travis
Yes.
and Justin, versus like other again
Yes.
people.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's crazy.
It's just
Like, my dad would have a higher seat than, like, past presidents, okay?
Yeah.
Right?
It's
Exactly.
Crazy.
And like you read Revelations and you're just like, oh gosh, like how could somebody be so vengeful?
Yeah.
But then you look around and you're like,
We deserved it.
nobody
They
loves
100%,
anybody. Like
right?
everybody is full of so much hate all the time.
They say history repeats itself, and I fully believe that sometimes because I started the Bible from like the beginning. I didn't finish it. I'm not even gonna front.
Dude,
Hard.
It is
Old
hard.
Testament's hard.
The Testament was wild.
I think I got.
Wild time.
I can't even remember who I stopped on. I was only like 4 or 5
Dude.
chapters in though. I think I got to like Noah and the flood, and then after that, I was like, I can't do it.
It was crazy. Like, but I mean, I started the New Testament. I didn't get that far in, and then I was trying to explain it to Stephen because, like, I was like, it's so crazy because once you read the New Testament, you're like, okay, I feel you. Like, I know why you did what you did.
Right.
I get it. Okay. And then you get into the New Testament and you witness his grace with his son. Like, it's crazy, right? So you read this story and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a book. Like, in my mind, I always thought it was something different, but I'm like, this is a book. It's telling his story.
Right.
Crazy. And just all his friends, you know?
Right.
It's wild, kind of, if you put it like that.
That's what I recommend. The Chosen. I don't think you all have heard me, but I was telling Krystal. So The Chosen is basically like a series on Jesus, and basically it starts with like the apostles, like him, like getting woven into their lives. And so I played it the other night when Justin was gaming, and then I turned it off, and he was like, well, "Where'd you turn off Jesus?" And I was like, "I'm going to bed." And so like I woke up. And the next day he was like, well, let's watch it. And I was just like, what?
Right.
And so he's like, well, I'm not going to read it. So I might as well watch it and learn. And I'll like reference stuff once in a while. And then he'll be like, that's in the Bible. And I'm like, well, yeah, like it's this. And then, of course, like we've been watching this. And he's like, what happens next? And I'm like, go read or watch. Like, so I'm not spoiling it. But and of course, like I mean, they don't know like exactly how like he got with Matthew and like the conversation, but I feel like they fill it in with the good like the times and like
Right.
what they can work off of, and so we're finished with season 1. We finished with
What are you watching it on?
so season 1's on Netflix, but all the seasons are on Peacock. So
Okay.
I didn't realize that. So we started the first season on Netflix, but now we're gonna have to switch over. But it's been really good and really cool. And I'm not gonna lie, like I'm over here shedding tears. Like one episode, like they ended, and he was like, I can't remember like which person he was saving, but like he said the words like "I am," and then I'm just like, oh. Justin's like, are you crying? And I'm like, I just love Jesus, man. So I recommend that because it's definitely been like helping, and then it's cool to just like see the story you see in your head and like you hear and know about, and then like that. So
I think the best thing for us was going to church as a couple because you're vulnerable. Like it's different. Like I write down almost every time, just because I've gone through a lot lately. But yeah, I think that's the best thing to go to just go sit and like I said, like I don't know that I know Stephen will never go to Catholic church with me. Like it's just not his thing. I respect that. So this is our common ground.
That's so good.
So I'm still getting what I need, to be walking in my faith, but he still gets that and we get it together. Like it's different.
I think so many people get stuck in their differences, especially around religion,
Yes.
because they're like, I remember one time I was dating a Mormon in high school, and I went to church, and because he wanted me to go to church with him on Sunday, so I went to church on Wednesday, and I was like, we're like, I've never like had this scenario happen, but like, is that allowed? And she pretty much was like, well, you should go to the church that you go to on Sundays, but if you want to explore other churches, then maybe do that on a Wednesday. And then I just didn't like that answer. I was just like, that was not
No. Yeah.
what I wanted to hear. So, but then I ended up not going with him because I was like, I don't know, I don't have anything to wear to Mormon church because I did not I didn't have like any dresses that were below
Yeah.
my knee or
Yeah.
like any pants that didn't have holes, and you can't wear pants there. I don't think. I think
Yeah.
that was a rule. I don't think you wear pants there. So I was like, I don't have any dresses or skirts. Like,
That's
like
so stressful. That's why I'm not a fan of like
some places, yeah,
you know, specific religion churches because like who cares?
right.
Come as you are is supposed to be how it is.
Yeah. Again, going back to
Yeah.
Father Daigle, but like that's how Father Daigle felt, especially at the 5 p.m. mass.
Yeah.
Before it was taken away after he left.
Yeah.
Like I just felt
I
like
come in my sweats and a hoodie, like, why do you care what I look like?
you
should
could
be-
have came in
Right.
sweatpants and he
Jesus
would have
wouldn't
been like,
care.
I'm happy you're here.
Right.
Like
I never understood that either. Like
Yeah.
funerals, I understand. That's a respect thing. Like
Yeah.
I get that. Like you want to respect the person that you're, you know, mourning, whatever. But church, especially you want me to come at 9 o'clock? No.
Exactly.
And I just worked my butt off the Friday before
Hmm.
or Saturday, whatever day. I don't even know anymore the days, but
Right.
they're all the same now. But yeah, so that's
Whenever
my
you
thing.
work on the weekends, every day seems like a work day.
Dude.
It's crazy.
Well, I have to stop myself. I've been watching. I don't know if my TikTok has turned into like therapy. So
mine always has a mixture of that.
there's this therapist on there. It was like, if you don't have to work, like don't. But I'm the one that's like always checking my work emails, no matter what, because I want to know what I'm walking into that day. You know. She's
Not
like,
me.
no, stop doing that. So I deleted it, or no, I got a new phone. I didn't re-download it. Oh, it feels so good.
No.
Just
I'm very hardcore about my boundaries. Like people usually apologize multiple times if they contact me after 5 or on weekends, but you have to be, or they like, especially with my job, I
Yeah.
feel like they'll run the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I have people who'll be like, well, I messaged you on Facebook Messenger. Well, Facebook Messenger makes me too accessible. So I haven't used it since 2018. So I've had a few bad experiences of being cussed out on it. Like,
yeah.
who wants that negativity?
Right.
I'll see people tag me and stuff in the watch page. Again, that's a firm boundary. I don't post in there. I creep and I screenshot. Like, that's all I do.
Screenshot shit.
Yes. And so like I'm very big on that, and I always encourage people like set those boundaries. I'm a people pleaser through and through,
too.
but like if it's on my time and my money, I'm drawing the line there. Like, I don't mess with
That's my
that.
biggest struggle because I was raised by a person that was raised by Sally Carroll, who no days off.
Yes,
Like,
yes, that work
we
ethic.
work.
I
Like,
think that was like that generation. That's how my mom
Yeah.
was. She had such a toxic relationship with her job. Like she would go in,
up more than an hour early to work.
yeah, like she would be there early
And
without
working-
getting paid. Like, and so I think that really instilled, like, I don't know about
I-
you, but
I
for
always
me,
told her
it
it was
instilled like a
ridiculous.
very toxic relationship with work. And then like I had a job where I literally was like dying. My health was severely suffering because of how much stress I was being put through at this job. Doing that at 7 o'clock at night without being paid, without being clocked in, without like, it was ridiculous. And then if the doctor couldn't do it on like Friday afternoon, he never called me back. Like he'd call me Saturday morning on Arizona time. So like 5 or 6 in the morning before he went to work. Yeah. And I was like, this is so, like, I was to the point where, like, my health was so bad that yeah, I was vomiting. I had diarrhea all the time. Like, it was so awful. And then on top of that, like, my mental health was just like, I didn't want to be here anymore. Like, I
Yeah.
was just like, I cannot.
exhausted.
Yeah. And I was like, and then one day I was like, for a job? For all of this for, like, really? Like, all of this for money?
That's what I would have said.
Yeah. Like, I was like, I mean, I loved the people that I worked with, kind of, but at the same time, I was just like, for absolutely what?
What?
That's how I felt at
What?
AT&T for 10 years. I worked in hell at a call center, and it was just like, why am I doing this? I was at my biggest. I just let myself go. And then I was like, nope. One day I was just like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. And my cousin called me and was like, hey, my job's hiring. You'll be perfect for it. So I'm like, okay. And I just left. After 10 years, I still lose sleep over this though because it's so unprofessional. I didn't even put a 2 week notice in. 10 years, 10, like, okay, 10 years I gave them of my life. And I was like, I felt so bad. And then I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I
No,
can't
don't feel
10 freaking
bad.
years of my life, like, to sit here and take your BS, your corporate bullshit. Like,
Exactly.
it's terrible, terrible, terrible. One thing I'll never forget is like, I barely got calls from people like from around here. Okay, my sister's, her mom had passed away. Okay,
No,
her dad calls in. I pick up the phone, so I'm like, I know you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm like flagging my manager down. Like, I can't take this call. He's crying. I'm crying because I knew Carol. I grew up with them. He's my sister's best friend. So I'm like, I'm sitting here bawling. And they're like, no, take the call.
What?
What? So I'm talking to Steve and I'm like, please don't recognize who I am because it'll just be worse. Like, I am just like, I'm so sorry, sir. Like, I try to stay as professional, professional as I could. I helped him or whatever. And that's when I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been so
Yeah.
difficult.
And then
I
on
might
top
have
of
walked
that,
out that day.
they make you they make you try to sell stuff to them.
Whenever.
But dude, I was like, I'm not doing that. Oh, your wife just died. Hey, let me.
Do you want to upgrade your plan?
Isn't that not terrible?
Like, that's so awful. I was telling them earlier, like, I just could not with corporations.
Dude.
They are, oh, they just
And now my new
get
job,
me.
I'm like, maybe go back to AT. No, nothing will ever make me go back to AT&T. It is kind of cool though. I work with my cousin, like she's my boss, so
That would be
that can
nice.
be kind of challenging though because we're really like our industry is very demanding because it's the airplane industry. So like my job is to make sure, well, our kind of say is to make sure that the fuel is clean that the planes use.
How do you do that?
So like from pipelines, it's filtered in these vessels. So it's pulled from the pipeline, it goes into a vessel. We make the vessels. And then inside the vessel, there's like filters and it just cleans it all out. And I sell the filters. So we make all that. So I work with airports all over the world. I work with pipelines all over the world. Like Phillips is one of our customers. Um, so like oil and gas, that's what I do all day long to make sure they have filters and vessels.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I like that.
it's really cool. I learned a lot. I was trained for 3 days when I left AT&T. And 6 years later, I know so much. It's crazy.
That's so awesome.
I love talking to people because like I talk to customers from like everywhere. And they're so cool. They're just guys at airports just needing their stuff.
So you don't work for like an airline?
No.
Okay.
There are customers. And so like some of the airlines, like I do work like with Delta, stuff like that. But like they'll have small companies that the airlines contract through. So like Magellan is one that's big around here. So they work out of the Tulsa airport. They'll be the guys that pull up in the trunk that fuel the plane.
Okay.
So they're not directly tied to an airline,
Right.
but they're all contracted in. So
that is so interesting.
It is crazy. It's a whole different world, let me tell you. It is so neat though. I do like it, but it's busy. It's very demanding. Very. So, but it's cool.
My job's not that interesting.
No comment on mine.
Well,
It's pretty chill.
we're paying for change.
Yes.
Mine is very chill, like it's very relaxed, but it's just sometimes working with your husband's, she's been my boss for my whole life.
I think that would be challenging for me. I don't know. I don't really like authority anyways.
Yeah. I don't like roles. That's another thing I was in a flashback to Catholic Church about, like all the roles miss me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. So many. You can't do this, can't do that. It's so exhausting. I don't like roles.
We're all just trying to survive, man. Please don't make it harder.
I don't understand why I gotta follow their rules when I'm just trying to follow Jesus' rules.
Thank you.
Like,
And that's hard enough.
Right. Like I know I'm just like I feel like every day as long as you just try to be the most Christ-like, you're good. I mean, if you're trying, that's all you can do, really.
Yeah.
I not to get political because I could go on a rant for hours, but at my office, I'm pretty much one of two that isn't a fan of the past president. And so we get kind of deep into that. And one of the things that like I couldn't handle was one of the guys came up to me and he goes, I just can't understand the whole transgender thing. Like how it's accepted and how it's allowed, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I live like Christ. So
Yeah.
you take that how you will. Like you tell me you're Christian and then you have a problem with that. Like
And
I don't mind
judgmental.
people living in their truth.
Yeah.
I feel
Live
like
in your truth.
it does not
Yeah.
affect me personally.
Yeah.
So I said, you know, it's funny. I still get up. My day still goes on. No matter who our president is, no matter, you know,
Yeah.
who's in office in the state of Oklahoma, who's an idiot. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but we're still kicking. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
The show
Yeah.
must go on.
thank you.
Exactly. Like we still
Nothing
have to
doesn't stop
live
us.
every day, and I feel like just like noticing something about somebody, noticing a trait about somebody
Mhm.
should not affect
No.
another person at all. Like
Yeah.
I am so happy that you are happier with your life.
Yeah.
Like that's all that
Do
matters.
you, boo?
Yeah, as
That's
long
what
as
I
we're all
say.
raising the vibrations,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I feel like that's all
Like,
that
it doesn't
matters.
stop me. Like, and then it's not like I won't be like, you know, I personally don't want to do that, you know, like I'm still gonna stand on my morals, my beliefs, but I'm not gonna look at you and be like, Reba, really?
Yeah.
Right.
We need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Let me do Bible study with you.
Right.
Like those are the people that make me not want to ever open up my
The
Bible.
people are like, I'm gonna pray away the gay. Like,
Let
what?
me pray for you.
It's so
Yeah.
toxic.
Yes.
It really
Who wants to
is.
just, I don't understand. Wants to be taught or grow up like that.
There is a certain person in this town on Facebook that drives me absolutely insane with this. And I don't even know who she is, but she drives me insane because she's like, they're having satanic church at a school in Kansas. We need to stop this. We have to go up there. We have to protest it. We have to, you know.
What is she gonna do? Burn the church down? Like what year is this?
Dude,
1930,
I was
1870?
like, just like I can believe in whatever I want to believe, so can that church. You can't have yours and then not have it, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
It can't be that way. Like,
Yeah.
what world are you living in, lady? That's what I want to say to her.
I mean, just because somebody else is praying to Satan doesn't mean that I have to.
Exactly. Like, to me, that would just make me want to get my, you know?
I'm like, well, they're conjuring up the devil. I better be working on the other side. You know? I'm like, why do you have to be that way?
You don't have to be so loud about it. Like, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. But it's not like every day thousands of people do crazy sins around me to where I'm going to have to be like, hey.
Well, I
Yeah.
feel like
You
it
know?
always don't have to be a grand gesture. I mean, again, going back to the Chosen, like they were going, I can't remember what town they were going to, but like Jesus had the disciples like go onto the town. He needed to go to a well. And he went and sat there and waited for this woman. And sometimes it's just like that little simple interaction that can like click someone's mind or like make them see or like you know, it don't have to be always like
Yeah.
crazy. Sometimes
Right.
it is
Yeah.
those simple things, like the woman touching his like cloth. Like she didn't even look at him; she just touched his cloth,
Yeah.
and like it changed her life. And so, like, it doesn't have to be Facebook Live or
Right.
you know,
Right.
The church in the mall in Bartlesville,
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
dude.
Well,
Okay.
What church is it?
It's called Victory something.
Okay.
Now, I'll admit, I went for a couple times. Like, they had me. Okay. We used to.
Is it like a
next
cult?
door to the drummer.
Already sounds like a cult.
Okay, just listen.
oh god.
This way. we lived next door in our apartment complex. The neighbors were the drummer and the kids' church leader. And I love them. Like, the best people. Love them, love their kids. We still hang out. Like, love you guys. Fry. They'll probably never listen to this, but yeah, so they're good people. So I'm like, of course they go to a good church, so let's go. So I'm like, we need something,
Right.
to pull you out of this. So I'm like, let's go to church. They're inviting us to church. So, okay, yeah, let's go. It worked for a couple times. Like, I'm not going to say it didn't get us on track because it lit the fire. Like,
Right.
it made me want to know Jesus. It made Steven want to do better. Like, it made River even, like, get more into it. So I can't say it wasn't all bad until it was, he opened his mouth about politics. Dude, I can't.
The pastor?
This man, yes, this man fixed his mouth to say he was going to pray for Putin because it was when all that was going on. But he couldn't even say Joe Biden's name, okay? He prayed for Putin, but then said, and our current president needs prayers too, to make decisions to get us out of the mess that we're in. You couldn't even say his name, bro, but you could pray for Putin and say his name.
That's wild.
You're that hard of a Trump supporter that you cannot, and that's what it is.
That's so crazy.
That is so crazy. I can't imagine.
Place at church.
I could not imagine being in church.
He said, this is what triggered me. This is when I looked at Steven and his mom, and I was like, we have to make a better decision on where we're going. Because he was like, I fully believe in church, church, there should be no separation of church and state.
There has to be.
The church needs to be in the state.
What?
They need our leadership and Jesus's leadership and prayers. No.
That is so wild.
Okay, so after we start going, then I find out, and I mean, they've shared their life stories. Like, okay, him and his wife, like, life stories. He has all these kids. She doesn't have any. Cool. I feel that. Like, same. So I didn't think any red flags.
Right.
But then I started joining these little "Are you dating my man" sites. Like People Blast guys.
Oh goodness.
And this in the comments on one of these, it was about a pastor or something, not around here, but it was in Tulsa. And then in the comments, one of the women was like, "Well, get this: if you're in Bartlesville, steer clear from the church and the mall, because he preys on employees."
Oh, wow.
Apparently, his wife was an employee of the church that they went to, and he cheated on his wife with her, and now they're married and at this Bartlesville church. So how many can sit up there and tell me that I'm wrong for being a Democrat? Wow.
Can commit adultery?
Thank you.
What?
Did you
That
just see
is
his
so
post? I found out he has a gay brother that he has nothing to do with because he's gay.
Oh my goodness. I could
tea
not.
is
The
hot.
family though, like I could not. Like if one of my siblings was gay, like
So what?
you're still my sibling.
Thank you. My God,
We don't-
Justin was going to be
A fondom means family.
He's
so good. I could be just a cover.
My dad just makes such much shit to Justin, but he really did say that pretty much.
I mean, Lily keeps it on too.
Yeah. Lily was everybody.
That's so funny.
I just hate the junk smell.
Yeah. I know. Like, your own blood. Your blood. Like,
Yeah.
I could not. My sister, we have a sister that doesn't do right. And it still kills me that I can't be like, hey, how are you? Are you alive? Are you okay? Like, are your kids alive?
Right.
I can't. I can imagine. And not just because she chooses not to be a part. I mean, she's
Sadly, that's not a situation like you want to put River around you there.
And you know who's more triggered, okay? Because I was showing my coworkers a picture of her, and the old lady that I work with was like, "Oh, she looks just like you." Reba.
Oh no, you're still a little Patricia.
When she said those words, I was like, "Huh?"
I've literally only met her once in my life.
It's wild. My dad, okay, like back in the day, it's so crazy, Heather. I shit you not, I met my brother at Walmart.
What?
when I was 7.
What?
When Walmart was out here, like me and my sister and my mom and my dad were checking out, like normal. I'll never forget this, and I'm not
I
making
love
any
this
of this.
story.
Wait,
So,
I want to mention that I love that you said that there was a Walmart in town and you remember that because it's
Yeah.
always been Alco for me.
No, my grandma worked there.
That is so funny. I literally thought that was like Michael's age. Like he's
Right? We were little when it was
that's
still there.
wild.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think it was to like the late 80s.
Yeah.
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 Like
Really?
early 90s.
So when did it become Alco?
I want to say mid 90s.
It had to be because you guys were here at that point.
It was already open at that point.
Yeah.
We moved here in 2000. So, but mom started working there in like 2001 or 2.
Yeah. And it would have had already been established. So it was around then. I mean, it shut down as Walmart, and I think the first thing it opened as was Alco.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're checking out, and me and my sister see this little boy in front of us, and we're just staring at him, and like something just made me stare at him. Okay. And when I show you him, you'll know why. So he goes, Mom, those girls are staring at me. And she turned around and she looked at us and she looked at my dad and she looked at my mom, and Kathy's face just turned white, like she saw a ghost. And he was like, Nathan, turn around, leave those girls alone. So flash forward a couple of days, me and my sister and my dad are chilling out, or me and my sister are outside playing, Here walks my dad up with this little brown boy. And I'm like,
Still this kid?
we saw Walmart, like what the heck? And he had 2 pictures that he colored for us.
Aww.
And he was like, Dad walked up and he goes, Girls, this is your brother Nathan. And he's like 10, 13 at this point, lived across the street from us our whole lives. And we had no idea that he was our brother.
What? That is so crazy.
My dad paid child support for him. Like, he grew up with Justin
That's
Wilson. Like,
insane.
he's their age. So, like, as cousins, they grew up together and didn't even know they were cousins. Isn't that wild?
That is so crazy.
So then you would think my mom would know? No. He married my mom and didn't even tell her that he had.
Wait, so how did he not? How did
I-
she not know that he was paying child support
My
then?
normal Sally paid it. It's wild.
What?
His mom paid his child support. Like, Dad gave her the money, but yeah. My dad had addiction problems, okay? Like, he was wild back in the day. So he would work, and then grandma would just pay his stuff because he was doing nuts. Obviously, you have kids you're not taking care of, but yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's Nathan. That's David.
Oh my gosh.
He looked just like my dad.
Guys,
So
that's
I'm seeing
crazy.
this little
That's
boy in front of me, like, that looks just like my dad. Like, he looks like
It's wild.
So you think, okay, this is Dad's opportunity to come clean, right? We find one. Oh no. Flash forward. We're sitting at Sally's one day. This girl comes in, sits down by my brother, and was like, You're cute. All of a sudden, I see Dad come running from the back and was like, No, that's your brother.
Oh,
Here comes Heather. I'm like, Dad, what the heck, dude?
wait, how old were you at this point?
Probably like 9 or 10. No, I wasn't that old. Abner may have been. I was probably like 8.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
Yeah, so Heather, like, he was living in Tulsa and seeing her mom, and he was in the thick of his addiction and wasn't in a place where he could be a dad again, So they talked about not going through with it.
Uh-huh.
So he cuts this woman a check and goes to work.
And so he thinks,
Thinks nothing of it. He offers to go. She's like, no, it's okay. I'll do it. I got it. I'll make my sister go. So he's like, okay, I'll go to work. Goes to work, comes home. She has a wedding dress. And he's like, what? Hey, what are you doing? I'm not getting married. She like, what'd you do with, I bought the dress. I want to do this. Dad's like, no, that's not what we discussed. Like, I'm not in a place in my life where I can do this, like, tried it before, can't do it, So she ends up calling her family from Arkansas. It's crazy. Like, she had crazy brothers. They come from from Arkansas to Tulsa to get her. While my dad's gone, shoots up his apartment, okay, and then leaves. And he never hears from her again until she files for child support in the state of Arkansas. So
Oh my
he
god.
starts cutting that money because he's like, "They'll try to kill me," like
Right.
get me back to Arkansas. So I think it was later in her life where she was starting to question, like, the man that is saying my dad is not my dad. Like, and so finally her mom was like, "Your dad's in Alaska. Here's your wife," basically.
And she just showed up one day?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes, her
god.
grandma had reached out
How old
to
was she?
Sally. When I first met her, she was 13.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she was a teenager. So yeah,
So how'd she get here? She just like
her brother. Yeah, I guess they had talked to Sally. Like, I know my dad was expecting her, but we didn't know. Like, what?
I was just like, this is gonna be fun.
Surprise, dude. So now the running joke is, are there more? Like, is this gonna happen again? Like, and Howard has dementia, so we'll never know.
Right. Well, he might not know. He'd be like, I don't know. Well, do a DNA test.
Now
It's
one day.
wild. But like, I got the same feeling when I saw her. Like,
Right. You just kind of knew. Remind you of whenever you found our siblings, or no?
Oh yeah, I've been sitting here thinking that this whole time. Like, this just reminds me of when I found out that we were adopted, but I knew way before you did.
Yeah. Because I was
I tried to tell her. She told me I was crazy.
like, you leave me in my reality alone.
But like I think it was in 8th grade, and I went to school one day, and my best friend came up to me and she said, "I know something about you that you don't." And I'm like, "There's nothing you could know about me that I don't know." She goes, "Mm-hmm, but I'm not allowed to tell you."
No, God.
I'm
Are you
like,
sure you weren't younger?
I know it was middle school, 7th or 8th grade, but
Maybe I was in 6th grade.
But I was like, "There's no way you know anything about me that I don't know." She's like,
Yeah.
"Well, I can't tell you." I'm like, You're not just gonna bring that up and expect me to let it go." I was like, "You're gonna tell me what you think you know." And she's like, "Well, I know you're adopted and that your parents aren't your real parents."
Okay.
And I'm like, "And how do you know this?" She goes, "Well, my mom heard it from so and so's mom, and she heard it from your mom." So I'm like, "Are you sure?" And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, it makes sense. So I started like doing a whole lot of digging. Sorry.
You always mess with your ear when you talk.
I do it too. That's why I cut it too.
But so I started doing a little bit of digging, and I was like, that makes sense. And then I found a picture of Deanna, and I was her spitting image. I looked exactly like her, and I was like, yeah.
Mom always used to say that she didn't know who that lady was. She would not tell us. I didn't know. And I was like, one day I was like, why is she holding me then? And she was like, I don't know. She just came over one day. We took some pictures. Like,
We just pull her in from the streets.
and but also I believed that I was found in a dumpster because that is what I was told my entire life. So I was like, I don't know. They just picked me up one day, found me in a dumpster under a rock. That's what they said.
That sounds like some shit Justin told you.
Like I went home and I saw Heather sitting on the couch and I was like, "We're adopted." And she goes, "Whatever, you're crazy. Leave me alone." So like I
But
did.
it was the way you said it. You were like, we're like, I don't know. It was just not believable.
I remember the first time Justin told me, he goes, "Yeah, they're like my sisters, but not." Like, who the says that? I was like, "Huh?" He was like, "Yeah, they're my sisters, but they're not." Okay. And I just know him, so I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever." Like,
I know it's so
yeah,
hard to
move on.
explain to people
Yeah.
when it comes up, but
Yeah.
like I kept it to myself for like 2 years, and then I was complaining about something that mom had said to me about my body, and I brought it up to our sister Buffy, and she was like, I just there's some things I wish I could just tell you. And I just, without even thinking, blurted out a smart ass remark, and I was like, I better know. And she was like, what do you think you know? And I was like, that we're adopted. She goes, who told you? I was like, I found out at school. Yeah. Small town, bound to happen. And she ended up sitting us down and telling us the whole story and showing us pictures of who they were and everything. And then I think it was a year or two after that, because I remember I was still in high school, but I think I was already 18. Tim had found a way to message me on Facebook and like basically told me who he was and like convinced me that he was this nice guy, that he's changed, blah blah blah. And I ended up agreeing to meet up with him, and I found out that we have two more little sisters and two little brothers. And the youngest one, I think he is around 10 now, and the two youngest boys have autism. So, yeah.
He's got how
So
many kids?
6 in total is what Tim has.
With
Me,
us or
yeah, me, you, and then there's Ebony and Gabby and Thaxter and Max.
dang,
That's a lot of kids.
that is a lot of kids.
Yeah, he had 2 with each woman he got with,
Was
and
he
then
a
left.
parent to any of them?
He was around for Max and Thaxter. Uh, the girls, Ebony and Gabby, when they were younger, but then he started going to jail a lot for not paying his.
Child support.
Yeah. But he was like, he'd go to jail for like 6 months, and then he'd get out for like a week, and then go back. And yeah,
Yeah.
he always would tell me about how he had people who would smuggle him drugs in jail. I'm like, there's one.
After watching the 30 Days In,
Oh,
we
I
should
believe
get
it.
anything
Yes,
to do.
you can.
But
That's like in there somewhere.
For real. They got all kinds of stuff.
Dude.
And all they're like, oh, I'll give you a bag of cookies for some meth.
Yeah. Or like trying to message me and you're in prison.
Right? Like they're doing like TikTok live and they're like in their little what is it? Their little button or whatever. Whenever TikTok like first started and they were doing that, it's like fucking idiots, man.
You're
Like
gonna get caught. Like someone who you have wronged in your life is gonna be like, hey, homies,
yeah, you know homie's got a phone up in
Yeah.
there. Yeah, but I never did that. Never got involved in any of that. Deanna messaged me once, and then I was like, yeah, I just feel like that wasn't my path. And like God literally placed me in a different life. So
no, when I found out I was pregnant, that's when I completely cut them off. Because, like, they'd say that, oh, I'm not unclean, I'm not doing drugs anymore. And then, like, a week later, I'd get some nonsense message, and, like, I knew that they weren't telling the truth. So, like, I was like, I don't want to be around that. I don't want my daughter to have anything to do with that. I don't want her to even know them. Like, yeah.
so Buffy told us one day, she was like, hey, just in case you guys want to know, she's like on her deathbed, she's dying, if you guys want to meet her before she dies. So we were like, okay, we'll set up like a call. And Logan, poor Logan, gosh, love him. The poor guy, she hates men for some reason. She like has an abandonment wound from our father leaving her, and then I found out later that she was raped by men that her mom had around. So she has like really big issues with men. And so, of course, Logan was the nice guy and wanted to go. And so he went, and then she, of course, like acted like he didn't exist, like he wasn't her child, didn't talk to him the entire time. She just wanted to talk to us. And then, but the whole time she just talked about herself and how she was just gonna go home and die and do drugs, and she stole cars, and that's what she wanted to spend her time talking about. And I was like, I'm gonna graduate college. Like I was like, I'm doing really good with my life. I'm gonna graduate college, no debt. I'm gonna have a bachelor's degree. And she was just like, yeah, so I used to steal cars, and then I got knocked up, and then I did some drugs, and then you guys got taken away, and did some more drugs, and now we're here, and I don't have a liver anymore. And it's just like,
yeah, like they're
okay.
making a big deal. Like she was gonna kick the bucket the next day. From what I know, she's still running around somewhere.
God.
I feel
It's
gypped.
almost 2 years
Sorry,
ago
not
now.
really, but I feel gypped. I was like, bitch.
You got it.
Yeah, but this is like, what, 2 years ago now? Almost?
Yeah, that was like 2020.
Because I was still pregnant.
Right, were you pregnant in 2020?
Yeah, we did a
2021.
pandemic gender reveal.
We did. Oh yeah.
Outside.
In man, this has been a long couple of years.
Well, I actually have to go because I have to go see my dad, but I just want to thank you guys for giving me the chance to be.
Yeah, it was so fun having you on.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be back.
Yes.
Yes, we
Yes.
will definitely see you in the future.
Many more conversations. Lots of opinions.
I love the show though. I'm really happy for you guys.
Thank
I'm really,
you.
look at you.
Oh, shit.
You're
Mastermind behind it.
You should definitely give yourself a pat on the back because this is
Yeah, Heather's done great.
Well, thanks for being our first guest. We so appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys need to get like shirts, merch.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
Like that.
Bueno Creations is on the.
Well,
But
promise
thank
you'll
you for
come back.
joining
Thank
us.
you guys. It's fun.
And we'll see you guys next week.
We're out. See ya.
Bye.